Hello students, it's Nazia Begum here, your physics lecturer, welcoming you all in today's lecture. So in previous lecture we have studied about viscous force. Okay, it is the force which is between the adjacent layer in a fluid when the layers tries to flow over each other. Okay, so it is a kind of friction force for fluids. Now today we will discuss Stokes law. This law tells us about the value of viscous force. Okay, this law was enunciated by an English physicist, Sir George G. Stokes. According to this law, the viscous resisting force exerted on a sphere of radius r moving with a velocity v through a fluid of viscosity eta is given by. So suppose we are having any sphere of radius r, okay, any object we are having which is a spherical shape having a radius r, and that object is flowing through a liquid whose viscosity is eta, okay, and the velocity of the object is v. So that time the viscous force, okay, that means the force which resists the motion of that object inside the fluid is given by F equals to 6 pi eta RV. Okay, this is the value of force. F equals to 6 pi eta RV. This equation is called the Stokes law. It can be derived by the method of dimensions. Okay, first of all, you might be thinking that I have told you that viscous force appears between the adjacent layer of fluid. So how it is opposing any object flowing in a liquid? See, whenever any object is flowing in a liquid, now suppose we are having different layers of a liquid. Okay, these are different layers of a liquid. Now if we drop any spherical object in downward direction, so when the object will come down, this object will have to intersect the layers. Are you understanding this? Okay, we are having different layers here. Okay, we are having different layers of a liquid and one object is falling down. So when the object is falling down, this object has to penetrate the layers. Okay, it will penetrate the layers and it will come down. So when the object will penetrate the layer, okay, so basically object is separating the molecules of the layer, molecules of the fluid. Okay, and because there is force of attraction between the molecules, so the molecules don't want to be separated from each other. But if the object has to come down, okay, it has to penetrate the layer, and in course of penetration obviously the molecules has to be separated from each other. Okay, but because of intermolecular attraction force, the molecules don't want to go away from each other, and that's why they apply a resistive force on this liquid. Okay, so that force is also a viscous force, and that viscous force value is given by F equals to 6 pi eta RV. Okay, one more thing here, that what does mean viscous? See, if in a liquid particles are very close to each other, okay, the liquid is thick, so the liquid will be called as more viscous. But if the liquid is thin, then it is less viscous, like water. Okay, if we compare water with honey, so honey is thicker than water. Okay, the molecules in honey are closer in comparison with the molecules in water. So we can say that honey is more viscous than water. So viscosity basically is density. It is related to density. If a liquid is more dense, the molecules will be more closer to each other. There will be more force of attraction between the molecules, and that's why they don't want to get separated. So if any other thing, any force, any object tries to separate them, they will apply a greater greater resisting force. That means greater viscous force they will apply. So are you understanding this? If the liquid is thick, the molecules are close to each other, they don't want to get separated, and that's why they will apply more resistive force. Okay, but if the molecule is thin, if the liquid is thin, the molecules are away from each other, so they will not apply that much resistive force as in case of dense liquid. Okay, so dense liquids are more viscous. So when any object which is spherical in shape, having radius r, is moving with a velocity v through a fluid, okay, whose viscosity is eta, then the force, viscous force, which is resisting force F, is given by 6 pi eta rv. This is called Stokes law. Now we can find out we can derive the Stokes law by dimensional method. Okay, dimensional method we have studied in chapter 2. In detail I have explained you how to derive different formulas with the help of dimensional formula. Okay, so here I will tell you in a quick manner, because in chapter 2 we have already discussed it in detail. Okay, so here the viscous force depends on three physical quantities. Okay, the first one is coefficient of viscosity eta, second is radius of a spherical body which is passing through the liquid, okay, and the third one is velocity of the spherical body. So on these three physical quantities force F depends. So when we are solving it by dimensional method, so we all know that first we have to write it like this. First we will write that first what we will write? We will write that F is directly proportional to n to the power eta to the power a, r to the power b, and v to the power c. First we will write this one. Then we have to remove the proportionality sign. To remove that we will introduce one constant. Okay, after introducing the constant we get this equation: F equals to k eta to the power a, r to the power b, v to the power c, where k is a dimensionless constant. Now we have to find out the value of a, b and c. For that what we will do? We will find out the dimensional formula of all these different physical quantities, and by putting the dimensional formulas for force and for all these three quantities, after putting dimensional formula we will compare the powers on both the sides. Okay, so here you can see, okay, substituting the dimensions of eta, r and v, we have this one. So here this is the dimensional formula of force, this is the dimensional formula of eta, this is dimensional formula of radius, this is dimensional formula of velocity. Okay, so all the dimensional formulas we put there. Then we have solved the power on the right hand side. So we got m to the power a, l to the power minus a plus b plus c, t to the power minus a minus c. Okay, now comparing the power from both the sides. So on the left hand side we have m to the power 1, on the right hand side we have m to the power a. So by comparing the powers of m we got a equals to 1. Similarly, by comparing the powers of l and t we get minus a plus b plus c equals to 1 and minus a minus c equals to 2. Okay, now here we already know a equals to 1. By putting so here we have got the value of a, b and c. After getting the value we will put all those value in this equation. Okay, So we got A, B and C, all value we got 1. So eta to the power 1, r to the power 1 and v to the power 1. So by that, putting the value of that, we get this equation, F equals to K eta RV. Okay, and by various experiments, it has been found that the value of K is equals to 6 pi. So by putting that value of K, we got F equals to 6 pi eta RV. Okay, this is called Stokes' law. The Stokes' law is obeyed by small and smooth objects moving slowly through homogeneous fluid without slipping through the fluid. Now I will tell you each and every term. See, Stokes' law is obeyed by small and smooth object. So if any object which we are dropping inside the liquid is small and if its surface is smooth, okay, that time this law will be applicable. Then second thing, it should move slowly through homogeneous fluid. Okay, now homogeneous means a fluid whose density is equal everywhere. Okay, homogeneous means it should be same in all the points. Okay, that is called a homogeneous fluid, and the object should move without slipping through the fluid. Okay, that means it should go through the fluid only and not from this not from the, it should not touch surface of container or something like that. Okay, it should pass through liquid only, homogeneous fluid, it should pass through homogeneous fluid. Now, after Stokes' law, let's move to terminal velocity. Okay, so now consider a spherical body. Okay, suppose a solid ball we are having. Okay, okay, so we are having one spherical object here whose radius is r and density is rho. Okay, that object is falling through a liquid and the density of liquid is sigma and viscosity is eta. Remember this point, density of object is rho and density of liquid is sigma. Okay, that all things are given here. Okay, now here in this figure 11.9, in this figure you can see, in this figure you can see one spherical object is falling down in a liquid. Okay, so when the object is falling down, so that time three forces are working on the object. What are those three forces? First of all, the weight of object is working in downward direction. So here you can see W is working in vertically downward direction. Okay, because of what we say, buoyant force. Buoyant force is also acting on the liquid. I have already told you about the buoyant force. Okay, so that force will work in vertically upward direction. Then the fluid is also having a little bit viscosity. Okay, so here viscous force is also there, which is also working in upward direction. Okay, so basically here when the spherical body is falling in liquid, one force, that is weight of the body, that force is working in downward direction, and two forces, buoyant force and viscous force, they both are working in upward direction. See, buoyant force always try to always work in upward direction. Okay, always works in the opposite direction of the weight of the object, so it is in upward direction. And viscous force is also a resisting force, that's why it also will be in the opposite direction of motion. So ball is coming in downward direction, that's why viscous force is there in upward direction. So total three forces are there, one is in downward direction and two are in upward direction. Okay, now when the object falls in a liquid, so what happen? When the body begins to fall through a liquid, okay, it tends to accelerate under gravity. See, gravitational force is acting in all the body. So initially what happened, the body which is falling down in liquid, it get accelerated, okay, and consequently its velocity and hence the upward viscous force also increases, okay. When the velocity of the object will increase, so obviously the resisting force also will increase. So because the body get accelerated in starting, so its velocity and viscous force both increases, okay. So after some time what happen, a stage comes when the net force acting on the body becomes zero. It means that the sum of the upward acting viscous force and the buoyant force just becomes equal to the weight of the body, okay. And after this what happen, after this stage the body will fall down with a constant velocity, and that velocity is called the terminal velocity. I hope you all are understanding this. Here in this body, total 3 forces are working. One is weight in downward direction and 2 are buoyant force and viscous force. Okay. Initially when the body falls in liquid, because of gravity it got accelerated and its velocity increases initially. Okay. But after some time what happened? The total upward force and the total downward force becomes equal, and after that the body starts falling in liquid with a constant velocity, okay. Initially the velocity was increasing, but after a balanced condition the body falls in a liquid with a constant velocity, and that velocity is only called the terminal velocity, okay. Hence terminal velocity of a body is defined as the constant velocity with which it falls through a viscous liquid, okay. So this was the definition. Now let's derive the formula, okay, expression for terminal velocity. So here on the body total 3 forces are working. First is W, weight of the body acting vertically downwards. Second, viscous force acting vertically upwards. Third, buoyant force acting vertically upward, okay. And when the body gets terminal velocity, that time total upward force is equals to total downward force. So here you can see total upward force Vf plus Bf and total downward force W, okay. Then upward force we know, viscous force from Stokes law we know it is 6 pi eta Rv, okay. And what is weight? Weight equals to m into g, okay. Let me first tell you from where we have got the value of W. See, W here is the weight. Weight equals to what? M into g, where m is mass, okay. Now mass equals to what? See, we have one formula that the density is equals to mass upon volume. From here we can also get mass equals to density into volume. This formula we have got. So here you remember mass equals to, we are having a formula density into volume, okay. Then we have one more formula, W equals to mass into gravitational acceleration. Now in place of mass we will put volume into density. So we have W equals to volume into density into gravitational acceleration, okay. Now the spherical body is falling inside the liquid, so the volume of that spherical body will be 4 upon 3 pi r cube, okay, where r is the radius of that spherical body, okay. By putting this value of V here in this equation, we have got this value, okay. So now you have understood how we get value of W. W is weight here. Weight equals to volume into density into gravitational acceleration. Okay, so volume of a spherical body 4 upon 3 pi r cube into rho. Rho is the density of a spherical body into gravitational acceleration. Now what is buoyant force? Buoyant force is equals to, see, whatever liquid the body will displace, buoyant force is equals to that displaced liquid only. Okay, so when we have to find out the buoyant force, that will be equal to the weight of the body. Okay, but here only one change will be there, that in case of weight of the body, we are considering the density of the body rho, but when we will discuss buoyant force, that time we will consider density of the liquid, which is given by sigma here. Okay, in case of weight of the body, we will consider rho, that is density of body, but in case of buoyant force, we will consider the density of liquid, which is given by sigma. Okay, all other things will be same. So here now I hope you all have understood from where we have got these values. Okay, the value of Vf, viscous force, we have got from Stokes law. Then W, weight, we have derived. According to W, we will have buoyant force as well. Only the density term will change. Okay. Now, here we have to find out the value of V, terminal velocity. So, we will transport this term this side. Okay. Here on the left side, this term is in plus sign. So, when we transport it this side, so it will become minus. So, here, wait. Okay, so here you can see, after rearranging that equation and then solving it mathematically, we got the value of V as V equals to 2 upon 9 r square g into rho minus sigma upon eta. Okay, this value we have got for terminal velocity. So you all please try to solve this equation to get that value. Okay, so today's video is going very long, becoming long, so I am ending it up here, and in next video I will tell you how to solve it. You first try to solve it by yourself. I am sure you all will do that. Okay, when you transport this quantity this side, that time what happen, 4 upon 3 pi r cube and g, they all are common, so they will come out, and in bracket what will be there, sigma minus, sorry, rho minus sigma, because sigma when we will move that side become negative na, so in bracket we will have rho minus sigma. Okay, and all the other quantities will come out, then except V this side. Okay, this side except V, we will transport all the quantities, wait, we will transport all the quantities this side. Okay, then we will do the necessary operations, multiplication, division, cancellation, etc., and we will get that value. Okay, so you try to find out that expression. Simple mathematical terms are there. So this is it for today's lecture. See you in next lecture. Till then, goodbye, take care, do some productive work, and the most important thing, be healthy, be safe.